There's so many interesting things about the Great Flu. One is nobody studied it when it was happening. They just sort of declared it was a flu. They didn't really do autopsies. They didn't really do scientific studies. So those didn't come until the 1920s. So the very first study, epidemiological study, occurred in the 1920s, and they made an estimate that worldwide 20 million people died of it. But it was a very, not a really super rigorous estimate. And then they stopped looking at it. They filed it away. It became one of these chapters in history until Anthony Fauci and friends took over at NIH and the CDC, and they were trying to rev up their bureaucratic power because they were put in business to deal with infectious disease. And infectious disease, thanks to plumbing, it was basically going nowhere. It was disappearing. It was becoming so rare. I mean, people would occasionally die of it. But infectious disease wasn't a big deal anymore. So they needed to gin up some threats. So what they did was they started a cottage industry of people revisiting the World War I flu. And so in the 80s, there was this explosion of scholarship about the Great Flu. They raised the estimate from 20 million to 50 million. Based on nothing. And then more books are coming out. And then, every now and then they'd appear on the news saying, that Great Flu is terrible. It could come back anytime. We have to be vigilant. And now they've raised the estimate to 100 million died. That's been the drumbeat, since the 1980s. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And when Ebola hit Africa, and when Zika hit Brazil, and when bird flu came, they were trying to use that hysteria, that ground foundation of hysteria that they built very meticulously and very thoroughly to get more money and more power. It was a framing. In other words, they took this natural occurrence and they put a frame around it. And they said, ooh, this time it's the most deadly occurrence ever.